And welcome to the show. It is 6:17 this morning on this Monday as we kind of get things going here. So Goldman Sachs back in the headlines, of course, and here was a quote. "I have never experienced this kind of immoral behavior from a bank in my entire life." Goldman Sachs slammed in another CDS scandal, and of course, they just came off the Malaysian scandal as well. It's been just one scandal after another with the banks, and this is, and you have to wonder why people now, really kind of mistrust banks in terms of their money, their investing. And this is, we talk about, that 90% of Americans don't have any money invested in the markets. But certainly when you look at polls of how people feel about major banks and brokerage firms around the country, they're the same now. They used to be separate. Now they're the same. You can imagine why that they don't trust them. And when you start talking about, what's happened here and you start looking at what has occurred over time. We continue to let banks off with, penalties, right? Financial penalties. During the Obama administration, of course, many of the major banks settled a lot of their fiasco from the mortgage crisis for really pennies on the dollar for what they did. And of course, you have to, when people can basically commit outright crimes. And again, when you start talking about Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, JP Morgan, they actually committed fraud, wire fraud. They actually illegally obtained properties from people. It was a variety of crimes. Forgery was another big one. We had major banks forging signatures on applications to promote loans. Of course, Wells Fargo, the latest kind of poster child, even after the financial crisis. Wells Fargo opening up thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of accounts for individuals that they didn't want, simply for the process of these individuals to make quota, right? And so you have to wonder why people don't trust banks. You do have to understand that this is based upon how people really feel about what happens on Wall Street relative to their money. And again, it's not surprising that in poll after poll after poll, the trust that is actually given towards Wall Street has completely evaporated over the years. And, there used to be a time in history where when I was growing up, your parents would tell their daughters, honey, when you grow up, I want you to marry a doctor, a lawyer, or a stockbroker. Two of the three of those professions are no longer on the top three list, right? Doctors are still up there. Lawyers and stockbrokers definitely aren't anymore. But the point here is that Wall Street has created this credibility problem by themselves. They did it to themselves, and they are surprised that people don't trust them anymore. And of course, just after scandal after scandal after scandal over the course of the last 20, 30 years, it's not surprising that this is now the case.
You can get daily real investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet. Sign up for Lance's newsletter now at realinvestmentadvice.com.